What's up, YouTube? This is now about 2 to 3 months after I recorded that footage when I was in the orange shirt. And so I've done a lot more research on this application just so I got a good quality video out for you. And there's been a lot of updates, so I want to fill you guys in on them. From what I've read up on the app, from just articles, videos, YouTube videos of people talking about them, giving their feedback on them, and people either online or in person who have experienced the app and shared their results. I have a lot to say. For the most part though, the great majority of the few amount of people who use the app that I know, they haven't experienced major results. I've heard of one story of meetups, and there's a couple people who do very well with the app, but for the most part they just don't know where to go from there. And right now it's becoming like there has been a lot of little fake spam bots. Basically, people will pretend to be a really good looking girl, and then they will either maybe trick you to spend money or just spam like a website to you. And it's rare, but it's starting to happen now. And also it seems like there's this whole mentality that the app is creepy for a lot of girls, and you'll see that when you're like scrolling through the pictures of the girls and reading the tagline. Like half the time the tagline will say, this is kind of a creepy app, but okay. However, I don't want to discourage you, because there still are people getting great results. I mean, amazing results from this app, and I will talk about that later. There's this one guy who's like a freaking player with the app. I'm talking 20-30 girls, but I'll get into that later. But basically, let's just talk about the bad stuff first, and then the good stuff later, because there are people who are almost gods with this app. They're super players in terms of male playerness. I'm just gonna be straight out honest. Let's start with the bad stuff. This app has never worked. Over the many months I've used it, I've gotten only a few matches, and either they're spam bots or they're just not that attractive, or for the most part they don't respond. And I know some of you guys might be like, Will, dude, you have to up your game. You have to try. You have to put in a good conversation. And it's true, because I don't really try that much. I usually start with like a very canned, stupid opener that's 90% of guys use. That's very generic. That already pushes them out, because obviously I'm not that I'm not like a model in terms of looks, so I'm already playing on an uneven playing field. And so I'd start off with like hi and something like that, and they'll never respond. And so yeah, I don't blame the girls, because they probably have 50 guys that they're choosing from, and yeah, it makes sense that they don't respond. But for me, it's more of just something to I never really took it serious. I didn't really think that this is like a serious thing that you can get results from, which is why I didn't really put in the effort. When I do put in 110%, it's usually when I'm actually talking to a girl face to face in person, through other means. So that wasn't the case until today. I've read some stuff, and a lot of people have been getting crazy results from it. But before I get into that, again, with the bad stuff on the app, there has been a small insurgence of spam bots, as I mentioned before. But again, Tinder is combating this, because you require like a Facebook sort of like check, and it's kind of like tedious to keep doing this. And yeah, from what I've been seeing, it's still very rare to get a spam bot. It's like 1 in like 50 girls, so you don't really have to worry about that. Now, through the articles I've read and the stuff I've seen online with like video testimonials of YouTubers or people who have experience with the app just on forums and stuff, for the most part, most of the articles are just people reviewing it from a faraway standpoint. They're just like, this app is kind of creepy, It's kind of superficial in many ways, blah 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 blah. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking, you probably use it. You're just saying this to sound superior to us, but I'm pretty sure, judging by the tonality of how disgusted you are, you probably secretly use it behind everyone's back because you love it in secret. And that's pretty much the whole, like, most of the articles are like that. They're like, oh, this is just an app that's going to pass by soon. I don't think so. It's going to stick around for at least a decent while. And in fact, it's still blowing up after like half a year, if not more. I mean, we're still getting videos. I mean, there's a very prominent dating coach, Adam Lines, who just recently, in the like past few days, posted a video on his thoughts on the app and how he thinks you can go about getting girls on the app, or guys, if for you girl subscribers out there. But from those aside, we want to look at the other stuff. And I've just been reading this off of like online forums and stuff like that, people discussing the app, and there have been only a few cases where I've found people discussing it and saying that they've had results. So for the most part, maybe it's just that a lot of guys are just really bad with girls, and that's why, or it's because of the app just being not taken seriously. But there haven't been too many, and of the few I've heard, I've heard stories of meetups, or a lot of transitions to text messages and stuff like that. But the one story I've heard with a meetup, it didn't go very well, and simply put, it was because this guy was already pretty good with girls before, and it turned out the one girl he was connecting with on there, he just didn't find attractive when he met him in person. And that again is another big fallacy of the application, and it's something that you have to take into hindsight when you're using the app, and just realize that it's going to be there. And that's the fact that people will upload their best pictures onto the application. So with only 1 to 3 pictures to judge from, you can meet that person in real life and realize they're nothing in terms of looks or personality similar to their pictures. And that's a common thing, and there have been a lot of complaints about that. But again, that's just generally what online dating can be like, especially with something like Tinder, where you're limited to a maximum of, I believe, 4 pictures total, 4 or 5 pictures, which is even worse than online dating profiles, where at least you get like unlimited amount of pictures to place on there, and most people tend to only place like 10 or less. So it's a complaint, but you kind of have to realize that this is online dating, and that's pretty much how it works. So it's part of the game, you could say. And so the other stories I've been heard about meetups. Let's transition to just the good stuff. There have been people who have had success. Obviously, there's constantly been like the question and discussion of, is this really serious? Can someone actually like meet their wife from this app, or their next girlfriend? And a lot of people, like the great majority of people, have this same idea that it's ridiculous. They don't think you can, and they're not taking it serious. But however, I've heard there's 2 big stories. One is just I've seen a few people, and sure, this might be like 10 to 20% of 100% that were actually successful with the app. But of these 10 or 20% of people who are successful with the app, they have gotten phone numbers, and they've gone to text messages and stuff like that, and it's worked really well. And they're pretty much saying that it's sort of like a funnel effect. You start off with the app, and then you get a lot of matches, and a lot of these matches, like a funnel, just don't work out, either because they don't respond, or there's no connection when they start talking, and it just keeps funneling down until you get like 1 or 2 girls who are willing to give you your phone number and text message, and then it might fall apart via text message, and then the funnel gets very, very small before you get to a meetup. And that's why these people have a good deal of success with text messages, but never really make it to a meetup, or choose not to for whatever reason. And so you get those types of people. And I know I've mentioned in the past how this app is kind of superficial and relies on aesthetics, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't really like it still requires some personality and stuff like that, and um, it's kind of like a make or break win after the match also, because there's a lot to get to the match in itself with like having good pictures, but you can still lose it if there's no connection or you have no personality when you're talking to the girl. And I don't blame a lot of people, because a lot of the girls, it's it's disproportionate, because it's a superficial app. Most of the guys will be aiming just for the good looking girls, and it'll be a disproportionate ratio per girl, and therefore a lot of girls have the right and are exceptionally very, very picky, and therefore will not even respond back after the very first message, even if you match, because they just have so much abundance. And finally, I'm pretty sure a lot of guys subscribers might have been waiting for this final point, but I want to talk about the people who are very, very good at this app. I haven't heard too much news, but again, there have been the couple people who have fallen into the previous category where they're doing decent. They've gotten text messages now, and they're conversing with the girl. They're still uneasy about the meetup, and yeah, then they just stop posting online, so we don't know what happened from there, but I'm assuming maybe it just didn't work out. And then again, there's that guy who just didn't like the girl when he met up. Now there's this one guy, he's legit. Basically he looks like a Abercrombie model, and that's why he's saying he's gotten so many matches. And again, looks does play into it. Again, it is a superficial app, so he's gotten so many matches then that it takes, like, you know how like on the iPhone you have to swipe for it to scroll? He says it takes 10 iPhone swipes to get from the top of the page of matches to the bottom of the page of matches. That's like 10 to 20 full pages of matches that he's gotten. And he says he's using the app for about a month. And I'm sure he's not the only one this successful with the app. There's others, but again, he probably resides in the 1% of people who are just very good. And I don't know if he's actually like he's probably, I mean, a lot of you guys might be saying this guy's oh, it's because of his looks and stuff, but there's a lot more to it. And sure, in this type of app it kind of relies on looks, but I'm sure he's not like ridiculously good looking. And this is a trusted forum, and the guy is very trustworthy, and it's a very trusted community from where I got this news from. So this is like real stuff. This isn't like just some troll who's lying about this. And he's given a lot more details, a lot of which I don't really want to say too much, but basically in terms of results, I mean, he's got tons of matches, and because he lives in an area where a lot of these girls work at high-end restaurants, he ends up meeting up with them at their restaurant and conversing from there. And he's gotten good relationships with 3 or 4 girls, and I don't want to go too far into his private life, although he's been pretty blatant in telling me exactly what happened. But let's just say he's gotten to at least the kissing stage with at least 2 girls. And so the app can work. And on top of that, he says like he's gotten like 10 to 20 to the stage with text messages, and he text messages roughly around 10 girls per week, all of which he met from the app. And he says like with such abundance, he sometimes just lets girls go, because he just has more abundance and more girls to choose from. And on top of that, his major concern is that the fear that the girl looks nothing like the pictures, and it's a big concern for him. And it's kind of surprising, but it is a big concern. And he says he's had experiences like that before. So yeah, that again is a big thing for Tinder, which I'm not surprised. I mean, you do tend to upload your very best pictures on Tinder, but this is kind of like the rare guy counterpart to what most hot girls might experience on Tinder. In fact, Tinder is blown up to such a high point that the current reigning Miss USA has used it, and has used it briefly and gotten matches. Like basically, she approved 3 girls out of like the dozen she swiped around, and of those, all of them said yes to her as well. But that's all we heard from there. Maybe she didn't really take it seriously. But yeah, a lot of hot girls, I'm assuming, are like that. They have like 50, 100 matches, and that's why they don't really feel the need to respond to all of them or really talk to any of them, and that's why they just don't respond. And so that's my updated information on Tinder. If you guys have any advice for me, because I've been using it for quite a while, and it's just gone downhill for me, because yeah, I don't really see that many girls I'm interested in either, or maybe that's just an excuse because I rarely get matches even after months. And yeah, the matches I do get, they just don't respond, or I just don't even try. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just I've already gone past the good looking ones, and now it's just like after like the first month, it's just like all the other ones that I'm not interested in that are left in the app. But yes, not to be superficial or anything, but if you have any advice or anything for Tinder for me or anyone else watching, girl or guy, leave it in the comments below, as well as if you have any feedback, discussion, speculation, anything you want to say in the comments that might be helpful to me or anyone else, go ahead and leave a comment. And as always, like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is completely free. Just hit the button below my YouTube video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Can't wait to see that advice, because I do read all the comments, and I will respond as long as it's not vile or vicious. See you guys later. Peace.